Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go Quick Look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we're looking at this time is a Shun classic knife. It's the Bunka 155mm. And the core steel they use is a VG10 product, and they call it VG Max here, but it's basically VG10. And heat treats around 60-ish, maybe 61 Rockwell on that core steel. And the construction is a multi-layered, like Damascus cladding with some etching on it to bring out those layers. And they've done they do a fair amount of polish on there as well. So I'll try to not blind you with the lighting too much here. But you've got the core steel showing at the edge and then the layered cladding on up from there. The weight on this knife is 138 grams or 4.9 ounces. And the edge length is right about 155 on the money, or right about 6 inches. Overall length about 11 inches. And the spine thickness, these are fairly thin blades. So the spine thickness at the heel, let's just bring it up here, is about 2.3 millimeters or so. And then it pretty much just barely comes down off of that. When you hit the turn on the reverse sword tip, it does kind of thin out and gets pretty thin right at the tip. So should perform pretty nicely for you. See if I can get a choil shot here. But they're pretty thin right at the edge. How high are these? The blade height is about 42 millimeters, so it's not a real tall knife. And the handle is their standard kind of modified D-shaped black pack-a-wood handle, which is a stabilized wood product. They've got a nice butt cap on the end and really nice. One of the hallmarks of this knife line is fit and finish. All of Shun's products have very high levels of fit and finish, and this is no exception. So it's really nicely done. I'm a lefty, so do not be scared of this D-shaped handle, especially if you pinch grip. To me, it makes no difference whatsoever. Some people notice, some people don't. I really wouldn't worry about it too much unless you just can't stand it, but I doubt if you'd have much of an issue if you just don't think about it too much. I don't even notice them anymore, so don't worry about that too much if you're a lefty. These are ground nice 50-50, so they really don't steer left or righties. Let's take a look. Out of the box edge, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. One of the things you might want to do, excuse me, I messed up and went back to my old habits. Shun does sometimes have a reputation for chipping a little bit out of the box. It could be just how they create their edges. So if you sharpen, I'd go ahead and put your own edge on this right out of the box, and that should reduce chipping substantially, if not all the way, as long as you're, treated appropriately, as it should be. Or you can pay Chef Knives to Go with their sharpening service to go ahead and put a nice edge on it for you and expose some fresh steel so you can get a nice, longer lasting out of the box edge. So think about that. Here is what the knife looks like. And you can see the core steel cladding line there. You can see the frosted or etched finish. They've got some, on the right side of the blade, they've got some etched, their moniker on there. And on the left side of the blade, let me flip it over here, they've also got their stuff on there with a designation of what it is and the particular knife. They call it a Karitsuke Bunka. It's really got more of a Bunka profile on it, so that's why Mark put it under that classification. So really nice fit and finish all the way around. Spine, choil, handle. That's, again, one of their hallmarks. It's not a real tall blade, so you can see in my pinch grip, as long as I kind of don't wrap my fingers around too much, I'm okay on clearance. If you got big old hands, you're probably not going to use this knife for a lot of stuff anyway. Probably pick something a little taller or bigger, but as long as you grip it the right way, you should have board clearance, no problem. And balance point, since the handles have a little bit of mass to them and it's a short blade, it's going to be back a little bit, so it's about right there as far as balance point goes. Let's take a look at it on the cutting board. So here's what it looks like on the cutting board. This has a really smooth profile. I can see my tally light on my camera hitting me. I'm going to have to turn that off for this. So super smooth profile, just kind of a low belly. Again, not a chopper, but it's not a very long knife. And I can get fairly high before I start, pretty high actually, that's quite impressive before I start digging the tip in. So this will rock with stuff, no problem at all. In fact, it's just a velvety smooth profile, really nicely done. So if you're looking for a shorter utility knife with some height to it instead of a petty knife, think about a Bunka. They're really cool looking, and they've got that neat kind of reverse sword tip on them. This is a really interesting knife, so check it out. This is the Shun Classic Bunka, or Karitsuke 155mm knife. Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we're looking at this time is a Shun Classic knife. It's the Bunka 155mm, and the core steel they use is a VG10 product, and they call it VG Max here, but it's basically VG10, and heat treats around 60-ish, maybe 61 Rockwell on that core steel, and the construction is a multi-layered like Damascus